We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. I'm your host, Al Graham, and we are live here at paceradio.net. Tonight I am joined by my joint host, Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper, and tonight our guest has been helping patients for, as long as I've ever known the guy. But first, as usual, Kim and I are going to have our chat, and we've got an interesting story today, so I like to get right into that, Kim. So, how are you doing? How's the North doing? How's that?
The North is very, very wet.
I just thought as I was going in there, I thought, oh yeah, Kim had pictures of another flood. Like when I had you, when you were on the show 2 weeks ago, we were talking about you being flooded out, and you've had another one since.
Yeah, second one, and it rained a third time. It wasn't a torrential downpour, but it was enough because we were already saturated. We flooded a third time. I didn't post pictures because, quite frankly, I'm tired of bitching about the rain. So I quit. I just quit, and I don't want to hear me anymore. So
there you go. There you go.
So, yeah, we did get a third one. We're starting to dry out a bit from that. We've still got some water sitting on the surface, we're slowly drying out.
Is there higher ground around you that's just all running in there, or what's the scoop?
No, it's I live in, I guess, the deep backwoods, so to speak, I guess. I mean, We're 14 kilometers off the nearest main road, and you got to go on two dirt roads in order to get to my place, 14K off the main road. And it's a little tiny community, a little tiny township, and they really haven't done their due diligence the last couple of years with the ditching on the sides of the property. Yeah. So this thing is running off. It's all sitting on the edges of the property. So we're going to solve our own problem, and we're making arrangements to do our own ditching around the farm and let the water run away and solve our problems in the future. But it'll probably take us the rest of this summer to get that problem solved, so we won't be in this position next year.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Get yourself dry setup before that. That's for sure. Alrighty, now as far as the news article, we just grabbed this one just before we went live, and the headline. This is in Global News? Yeah, headline says that the London, Ontario man wants Canada to allow cannabis restaurants, cafes.
I love this. The London, Ontario man with dreams of opening a pot-themed eatery says he's in it for the long haul as he pushes for provincial and federal governments to allow for cannabis-infused food at restaurants and cafes in Canada. I love the name of his place that he has planned.
Oh, yeah? Hang on a second. Jeremy Smith says he spent a year figuring out how to do so, contacting the number of decision makers in Canada's cannabis industry, such as Health Canada, the Ontario Ministry of Health. He says, I was told I need proof of concept, so petitioning would be a great way to do it, he says.
Yeah, well, this led him to launch a pair of petitions, an electronic one lodged at the federal government that was posted to the House of Commons website last week, and another petition collecting handwritten signatures for the Ontario government that can be found at over 100 cannabis retailers across our province.
Yeah, he says he needs 10,000. He's looking for 10,000 signatures in Southern Ontario.
Just in Southern Ontario.
Yeah. And I see the name of this place.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Yeah,
Isn't
go
that
ahead.
great? Mr. Smith, who is looking to open his cannabis-infused restaurant called Les Munchies, says that he was first drawn to the cause after being diagnosed with Crohn's disease
Oh, no.
and
Yes.
eosinophilic esophagitis,
Yeah, it's esophagus.
esophagus.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
That last word looks like esophagus, but the one before that,
Yeah,
esosymphyl. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. He's prednisone. He says after 3 weeks he developed a difficulty breathing with pain in his neck
yeah,
and arms. I was on that crap for a year and a half.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Prednisone. It's I mean
Yeah,
that's a steroid.
yeah,
So, I
big
mean,
time.
that's wreaking havoc on the body.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
let's see here. Toronto-based lawyer Matt Maher is author of the Cannabis Law Group. He was consulted by Smith on advice of the legislation push. And he said, "I said to Jeremy, I can tell you what needs to be changed in terms of the law and what it looks like. But in terms of getting
Yeah.
that political willpower, you need a lobbyist or someone like that with a government relations experience to figure out what the levers are and where the best place to pull those levers." Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, right now, CBD is the active component in cannabis that has been touted for providing medical benefits and reducing inflammation and relieving stress and anxiety. THC, of course, is the other active compound. It's known for its psychoactive properties, according to this article. The thing they don't mention is that it also has the healing properties. But they seem to shy away from that information
Yeah,
in
yeah,
mainstream media. But that's not an option for this guy because smoking is out for him. So he's
yeah,
looking to do consumable products and he wants to
sure.
bring them to the masses.
Yeah, he says he wants to provide a healthy options to cannabis infused food, whether it be infused with CBD or THC. He says the amount
Yeah.
of people that are telling me their stories and how this would help them and their health concerns, that makes it all worth it. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to
Okay.
just point this out in this article. It really bothers me, and I see mainstream media doing this more and more all the time. There's this one line in here, and it says, "If his push for legislative change is possible, Smith wants his restaurant to provide healthy options for cannabis-infused food, whether it be
Yeah.
infused with CBD for medical purposes." Or for with THC for recreational purposes. They align THC with rec, and they align
Exactly.
CBD with med. And I'm sorry, but it's just not that way. I mean, this is more reefer madness propaganda built into a feel-good article.
The article. It's good to see that someone wants to do this restaurant idea, and
Yeah.
I'm all for that. And he's getting something going and everything. It's just too bad that the person who wrote it, the author, wrote it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, and I see this
That
a lot.
then that
in
maybe
mainstream.
that writer just needs to be told that there is THC is medical. It's not,
Absolutely.
our government, our federal government says CBD is recreational because CBD products such as topical cream, so on and so forth, are available in recreational only stores. So,
That's right. That's right. They're not set up for medical patients, which is why the province of Quebec won't sell cream.
There you go. So we'll see what happens. We always like to see somebody who's jumping into things like that and making change, and we all that could be a direction towards lounges and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, a kitchen is granted a license for commercial production, then there's nothing stopping them from producing infused foods as well as non-infused foods, except this arbitrary law that we're still trying to battle.
Exactly. Can CBD be listed as a cannabis health product and not only be put in creams but be put in food?
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, what do you think? Time to bring in our guest?
Absolutely. Looking forward to tonight.
That's right. Same here. It's been a while since we've talked to him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
At this time, I'd like to introduce our guest, who I said is helping patients plus much more. We'd like to welcome Steve Biggs to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Steve. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Staying above the grass instead of watching the roots grow.
Nice.
And yourself, you're doing good.
Yeah, I'm doing good. The new baby, so been busy with
Yes.
the newborn.
Oh yes, that's right. That's there's lots to be done there. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's right. Well, Steve, as I said, it's been a long time since we've been able to talk to you. I said to Kim before the show that we usually see you when we go to different events around Toronto, and get a few minutes to talk to you there, but we never get a chance to talk to you in any length. And we haven't had any events in like 2 years. So hey, let's get a hold of Steve and see what's going on. So we thought we'd invite you on the program and see what's up. So
Well, it's a pleasure to have been invited on.
hey, that's good. Well, I'm going to hand you over to Kim. She's going to get rolling with the questions, and I'll just jump in as we go along.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks so much, Al. Stevie Biggs.
How are you, Kim?
One of the great people in our cannabis community, supplying some fantastic meds to patients far and wide. I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm a big fan of your products, have been for a very long time. And it's great to have you on the show, as Al said. And it has been 2 years. I was talking about this the other day. The last time that I was at an event was November 2019. So there you go, and that was the TY Expo. So and that's the last event that I attended, and it's been a while for me to be out on the road, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there and reconnecting in person with everybody. But in the meantime, we've always got Pace Radio to connect with you and the rest of the community out there. Lots has been going on in the last couple of years. As you said, you've had a new baby, so there's lots to talk about that. But before we get into that, for anybody out there that isn't aware of who you are, why don't you give us an overview of who is Steve Biggs, Biggy Bud, and what are you all about? What do you supply? What do you do, Steve?
So I guess I was involved in the legacy market dispensaries, and sort of saw the need for patients. And as a patient myself, when I started going to when this dispensary boom happened there in early 2016, like I saw, the pricing to me, I was like, well, this is full retail price. We're supposed to be patients. Like a lot of patients are lower income. And then I went to Dana Larson did an event at Hotbox on how to open a dispensary. And he was doing his seed tour. He was giving out his seeds in Overgrow, Canada. But part of it was how to open a dispensary. And I went to that. I mean, he had some good information, but more importantly, what happened at that event was I met Justin from Just Compassion. And I sat and talked with him for a bit, and that inspired me to do Biggy Big Bud Compassion. So I went from more sort of cash crop grows, and like I had my own medical grow, but we were also doing just cash crop grows and supplying the dispensaries and whatnot. But they weren't forwarding the prices to the customer base.
Right.
Like, I was like, we're giving you something for $5 and you're selling it for $25.
Yeah. There was a lot of that back at the beginning.
Well, there were 100%. I mean, it was at least 100% markup on everything. So if you saw something, a gram of shatter in the store and it was 50, chances are they paid 20 or 25 for it.
Yeah.
So with that thought, I was like, well, if we don't do full big storefront and all the fancy everything, we'll be able to do our prices a bit better. So that's what we did. We did a no frills sort of dispensary out of a location based in Pickering. It was an old house. We were doing a grow in the basement and had the servicing people upstairs, and then started on with events. The events, I would show up at events and I would have people waiting for me to show up just because of the pricing. Like I wasn't I wasn't doing the 100%, the 150% markup. I was,
We're gouging.
Yeah, and then what I was doing was telling people, like, if you join, if you have a medical prescription or you have a medical need, you don't even need the prescription. You have a medical need, come and see me and we'll work something out. And that's where, the oil, the fecal, like RSO as people call it. I don't really like calling it RSO, unless Rick Simpson made it himself. It's not Rick Simpson oil to me.
That's right.
To me, it's just it's cannabis oil.
Exactly.
That was the main thing. I was like, you could see the cannabis oil in the dispensaries, and it was $30 a gram, $40 a gram, and I just thought, this is insane. Like, on a wholesale level, you're looking at under $10 a gram. Why are patients paying more than $15 or $12 or even $11, $10 a gram, right? So that's what we started doing with the oil and giving it away. We were giving it away to addicts or people with addiction issues to help them wean off of their meds or their addiction. And that sort of drove the word of mouth. And then what we also did, though, is we had our higher end clients that wanted the top of the line stuff, and that helped supplement the lower income sort of people that couldn't afford the higher end stuff, but they still needed good quality meds. So we kind of like offset it. And so Biggy, Big Bud Compassion, we survived. We never got raided. We shut down a few times in anticipation of raids, but never had any issues. Then I went to work at Hotbox with Abby, setting up the grow store, and that was another thing of ours, was helping patients set up grows so they could grow their own meds without having, to become more self-sufficient and a cheaper cost once obviously the initial outlay is done. But so we helped. So with Abby there at the store, we were doing that. There was the ganja school, and I was still doing my own thing with helping set up patients at the grows and stuff. And legalization hit, and it's legalization. I mean, in the beginning, it was a terrible rollout with the way Ontario, the lottery system, and it was very disheartening. It kind of, like, I remember at Hotbox, the day of legalization, we had over 200 people come in and ask for weed because there was no stores open that were selling, and all the dispensaries got scared and were closed that day because like the legacy market ones were told, like, after this day, that's when the heavy penalties start. And I mean, some opened back up after they realized whatever, but
it was a shit show for a while.
Yeah, everything was up in the air. It was like, this isn't really what we fought for. Like, there's no free and fair market here. It's, people that had nothing to do with the industry won licenses and then were selling them to LPs, the top bidder type thing. And it just was like, it was very disheartening. And then, I mean, I just continued on. We shut Biggy Big Bud Compassion down other than doing events, and didn't really take on much of a new client base. We just keep serving the patients that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And over time that slowed down. Like, they've gone elsewhere. I've moved to Ottawa now. But I was still doing my compassion pricing for people that were doing my mail order. And I mean, things, the way the market is now compared to how it was in the beginning, it seems to be more of what we're fighting for is the point. Like, there's more of a free market, sort of, I guess. There's still a lot of work. Definitely a lot of work to be done, but it's a lot better, I guess. Totally off topic about describing myself here, but that's sort of, I guess, my mentality of the way my market was. Like, I was totally anti LP in the beginning, just the way everything went down with Project Claudia and them lobbying to shut dispensaries down. And even, I mean, it's still kind of prevalent. There was we have Cannabis Amnesty, an amazing group.
Yeah.
And then they teamed up with Supret, one of the big LP stores. And in that same week that they were doing, like, if you bought something at the Supret, so much money went to Cannabis Amnesty. But that same week, they did a letter demanding the arrests of legacy market brands that were still operating.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see that really bothered me.
What's that? How does that equate to amnesty?
Exactly. I mean, okay, it's like, oh, amnesty if you were, you got caught before legalization, but now if you're still doing it, like, we were the only ones allowed to do it, and if you are still doing it, we want you to stop. Like, I don't know, it's just...
I saw that too, and I contributed to Cannabis Amnesty as well. And
it wasn't, I don't think it was Cannabis Amnesty that was, like, they're, I think, a good group. It was Supret that did that on their own as, like, a retailer. I guess they were trying to eliminate the competition. They just happened to do that team up with Cannabis Amnesty that, like, it was released that week that I think it was ashtrays or something that they were selling that if you bought one, so much money went towards Cannabis Amnesty.
Right.
But so yeah, I mean that's my tale, I guess, from legacy market to now. I'm still. COVID sort of slowed everything down. I moved over more to accessories and everything after I left Hotbox. I opened my own company, Source One Supply, and do like gift baskets and whatnot. And that was going good. COVID kind of with events, sort of like events were my main sales drive. I would get like mail orders after events, and then. People shop around. They won't stick for life or whatever. They just
life changed with COVID for all of us in retail, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, I was super busy. I mean, I think people thought the world was coming to an end, so they just were like, "I'm stocking up." Like it was like the toilet paper craze, right? Yeah.
And then it just seemed like everybody went online to sell their wares, and now there's just so much choice and variety out there and so many things going on. You don't get repeat anymore. Now people are trying this, and next time I'm trying something else.
They're not sticking.
Exactly. Yeah, they're bounced around all over, and I mean which is great. I mean it's options for everyone. It's consumers getting what they want. Right, so I have no qualms with that. Just
it's opened it up wide open on the online sales for sure. I want to double back a little bit and talk about back in the days of the compassion clubs that were out there. You mentioned Project Claudia. Project Claudia. Now looking back, we know now that was like the beginning of the end.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I can't remember who did it, but someone had did a Freedom of Information Act for the login sign-in at Toronto City Hall in the weeks leading up to Project Claudia. And there was executives from Tilray. There was a lot of LP execs in and out of City Hall in the weeks leading up to Project Claudia.
Yeah.
Whether that's related or not, that's up for speculation, I guess. But to me, it was kind of like, okay, this was it put a divide. Eh? I remember that the lift was that weekend. The raids happened on the Thursday. We all went down to police headquarters on the Friday and did the big protest, and then lift was that weekend, and it changed the whole. It just changed the whole atmosphere at lift that weekend. It was like an us against them. It was like an us against them scenario.
For sure. It was quite the time. And I mean, prior to Project Claudia, they brought in legalization. We'll touch a little bit on legalization, because you and others like you have not been in this industry, but created this industry prior to legalization. In Canada, we had a thriving business coast to coast to coast. You couldn't go to a town or a city anywhere in this country. You could find a dispensary, whether it was operating out of a storefront or a house. They were there.
in Toronto, there was, I think just before Project Claudia, there was more dispensaries in Toronto than there was pizza stores.
Yeah.
And you know how many pizza stores there are.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then the lounges.
Yes, that's the saddest thing I miss is the lounges. I mean, and I honestly cannot see them coming back, unfortunately. But saying that, I mean, we always used to say it'll never be legal either. So
that's right. I can't see them coming back the way they were, you know, with the smoking and the vaping and all that. I can see them more coming back as, you know, they might have an outdoor patio where stuff would be allowed. But indoors would be more along the line of maybe beverages and food products and entertainment.
They
and stuff.
take too long to hit you, though. You're sitting there for an hour waiting for your buzz to happen.
Well, you know.
Well, and then there's the liability of people and I don't know. It's
transportation to and from and everything else because they could hit you harder. I mean, to me, that's a more dangerous scenario than simply going back to allowing vaping.
They're only 10 milligrams. Come on.
Yeah, when you eat 100.
But yeah, I know. Not everybody can eat, you know, more than 10 milligrams. I realize that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I miss the lounges. Every year we did a lounge tour.
Oh,
and, you know, I mean, I went to all of them. I visited as many as I could every year. We spent 5 days in Toronto, and that's all I did was go from one lounge to another. We'd go 3 or 4 in one day. And it was a thriving grassroots industry that was already employing people, was already putting tax dollars into cities and communities. It was already establishing businesses all over the place. And they said, oh, well, we're going to legalize it. Everybody was kind of like, hooray! And then this is what we got. And it's like, wait a minute. This isn't what we discussed. You know, it's been quite the whirlwind tour for the last almost 3 years.
Yeah, and it's I mean, if like COVID took out the last of I think Planet is still, they're not open obviously due to COVID, but I think they're still in existence. But I mean, Vapor Central, they closed.
Yeah, they're closed.
They toughed it out for a year, and then I guess couldn't do it anymore, which I totally understand. The rent on their place must have been huge.
Well, they lost their license, They lost the. There was they were on for a scientific trial. That's what it was based on. That's why they got their legal license to operate, and then that was pulled.
Okay, that makes sense.
So they had to close. Yeah, they were under like a scientific study.
Yeah, I remember that. You had to log in and say,
it was a research project. So that got pulled by the university because of COVID, and that's why they had to shut down. They lost their license.
Because as far as that style vapor lounges, like you say, you know, will Planet Paradise open back up again as things open up here, or won't it? And you know, the only lounge
they're the last ones.
Yeah, the only other lounge we think of, like Kelly's Green Lounge in Orono. It's not the style, you know, like with Vapor Central where you go in there and there's, you know, pile of bongs and vaporizers and stuff going on and people, you know, smoking big joints. But it is a lounge where people can go and get cannabis related and talk with other people that are cannabis related that we could do at those lounges and talk to other patients. And, you know, those lounges gave patients a place to go, whether it was for protection from the cold or from the heat.
Yeah. You know, people like me, I'm a Torontonian, born and raised Torontonian, but I moved away. And now I live, 9 hours away. So when I come into the city, most of the time I'm either staying at an Airbnb or a hotel. The majority of those do not allow smoking. And when I'm in the city, I'm traveling. I'm visiting people. I'm shopping. I'm traveling Yonge Street and going into all the stores. You're tired. You want to stop. You need a place to go and consume. taking all them away, all you're doing is inviting everybody to consume on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not
Well,
good
that
for
was
people.
at Hotbox when they sort of brought down the no more lounges type thing, and they changed it there where you couldn't smoke inside anymore. It was crazy. You had to go out and smoke on the sidewalk where there was families, there's people walking by, there's like people that aren't into cannabis walking by. I mean, a lot of people were into cannabis that are walking by, but I mean, you have a family coming down the street, and the only legal place to smoke was out on the street when you had a perfectly good lounge right there to go in that existed for years with no
first
issues.
one in the city.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right? Like,
and they had a private spot where people could go outside that wasn't out in the public.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, before I was there, they had the Medi Lounge upstairs where you could go and, there was many different Legacy brand edibles you could buy, and you could have a coffee and,
various rooms to sit in. Yeah, various rooms to sit in. One would have a TV, and the other one had, a little bit of entertainment music going on, and, various Star Trek sort of Star Trooper themed dab rigs and all of that kind of stuff. It was a great spot. It really was. When Abby was running it and it was at its peak, it was a great spot. I loved the Hot Box. Then everything changed when they sold it to Friendly Stranger, and Friendly Stranger was bought out by the corporations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So effectively, the Hot Box is corporate owned.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Do they still have their patio in the back?
I have no idea. I don't really know. It went corporate, and I backed away.
Yeah, I haven't been.
I was recently asked about, when's the next time we'll see you in Toronto. Well, it's been so long since I've been in Toronto because it's.
Oh, I can answer that.
I
can answer that for you and for me. In September, we're doing Karma.
Oh, I said the last time, not the next time.
Oh, the next time is Karma.
Yeah, that's in September.
Yeah.
All right, break time.
Sounds
Time to pay
good.
some
We're going to
bills.
talk to Steve about Karma and edibles and so much more when we come back.
That's right.
Nice.
Exactly. All right, you're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada.ca. Once again, People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada.ca. Check them out.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
CTCP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net. Hello and welcome back. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net as well as at paceradioshow.com. Today in the program we're joined by our guest Steve Biggs of Biggy, Big Bud Compassion, and my joint host, Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper. Well, Kim, in the first segment, we were talking about how Biggy got things going and how it was compassionate pricing and how he didn't like, overpricing it towards patients. And something tells me we're going to be getting into some munchies and some yummies and stuff like that in this section.
Yes, Biggy makes some awesome edibles. I've been a recipient of many of his edibles over the years, and more recently, he was also a sponsor for me on my Facebook social media page, IWK, Cannabis Information with Northern Ontario Kim. We do a 710 daily sesh, and I was doing giveaways for about a year, just over a year, every Monday. On the sesh, and Steve was one of our sponsors. Several sessions in a row, several sects in a row that we had. Steve contributed some wonderful edibles and various products to us at IWK. So very, very thankful to you for that. And people really enjoy your stuff.
Yeah, we try. It's I like to take the credit, but it's wifey that does actually all the making.
That's just like a guy to take all the credit. There is one thing you can take credit for, and that's a little conversation we were having during the break. I just want to make mention, Al's quite cute. When we get into big conversations during the break, sometimes we get carried away and we're talking, and Al will be doing the countdown. So there are 30 seconds left, and we're still talking. 20 seconds left, and you can start hearing the panic in his voice. Okay, 10 seconds left. Shut the fuck up.
and what you guys were discussing sounded so good too.
Yeah, it was. It was a rather good discussion. So we're gonna get into that on the air now, because that was something I have never heard of or seen. But now I definitely have to try, and I know a lot of our listeners are going to want to try this at home too. You did something interesting with a banger.
So what I did was I seen a friend of mine post it, and it's called the Popcorn Challenge. So what it is you heat up your banger like you're going to do a dab with your torch, like you normally do. And the new, I don't know how new to the market they are. They're new to me in the last year or so, is these terp pearls. So they're little balls that you throw in your banger that spin around and help burn the oil more evenly and I guess, give it more of a terpy taste, right? So I decide, or the challenge is, instead of using terp pearls, you use 2 popcorn kernels that you would like normal, like unpopped popcorn kernels, and you throw those in, and you heat up your banger, throw your popcorn in, throw your extract in, put your carb cap on and you start puffing away, and the popcorn kernels will start spinning around like terp pearls do in your banger, and they'll spin and they'll spin and they'll spin, and then all of a sudden one will pop. And so in most of the videos I see, only one gets to pop. So the video I did, it's on my Instagram way back from last year somewhere, and the first one popped, and I was like, oh, and I pulled out the popcorn and I ate it. And then just as I pulled out the first corn, the second one popped. So I got a double popcorn snack out of my dab.
So now that's absorbing any of the oil that's in your banger that was left over. Some of it went into the kernel, so you've got infused popcorn with your dab.
Exactly. So I got the second kernel. I actually kind of like used it and mushed it around so it scooped up whatever was left in the
extra
the
butter.
Yeah, so you decarbed your shatter, and now you're soaking it up with your popcorn pearls.
Nice. I've got to try that. I have got to try that. That is so cool. Besides popcorn kernels, though, you make lots of good stuff. Well, your wife does.
Yeah, we do. Peanut butter cups is what we were known for. We that's what we've always entered in Karma Cup has been peanut butter cups. We just kind of got our peanut butter cups seemed to take off. And we just got famous for those. So that's what we were entering. This year we're going to try something different if I can get to it. I'm not sure if I'm even going to make it. So we got 2 weeks left. It's on my plans to do. I'm hoping to get it done. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. I'm not going to stress about it too much.
I hate to tell you, but you got 1 week left.
Oh, okay, 1 week left. Even worse. Even worse. Even worse. Yeah.
Don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you lost a week.
It happens. Yeah, baby
yeah,
brain.
I love your peanut butter cups, man. They're good. They are. Yeah. They're very good.
So and then we do. We're doing One Bite brownies, but we actually got a cease and desist letter from the One Bite brownie guy.
No way!
Yes, they wanted us to change the name of our One Bite brownies because they did not want One Bite brownie associated with cannabis, I guess. I was joking. I was going to send them a couple packs of the brownies. So I changed the name to 1.5 Bite brownies. And then our dipped Oreos. So what I do is just take regular Oreos. The Oreos weren't infused, and then take infused chocolate, and I would dip the Oreos in the infused chocolate, and we called them chocolate dipped Oreos. And we got a cease and desist letter from Oreo, from Nestle or whatever as well, asking to change the name on those as well. So now they're called, what did I change it to? It's like OR with a big space, O, and then a capital E. So it still says Oreo, but I've spelt it different with some spaces.
There's always a way around copyright.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not that we were using legit Oreo cookies, so they're chocolate dipped Oreo cookies. I mean,
you're using their product.
You would think they would want credit for that.
Exactly. I don't know. Maybe they need to eat a few.
Yeah, should send them a pack too. Oh man, that's amazing. That's amazing. So much of that, cease and desist going on. But most of us in the cannabis community, we're all big kids at heart. We like our junk food just the same as we did when we were kids. And, eating, something that reminds us of our childhood takes you back. Why shouldn't we have those things infused?
Yeah. Not so much lately. COVID kind of put my snack regime into total chaos. But normally, if I was going to eat junk food, I wouldn't eat it unless it was infused.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to if I'm gonna splurge, I might as well have it infused as well. Like
That's it. That's it. Let's get something out of it besides sugar.
Yeah, let's get some good value out of it. You know?
Yeah.
But I am a fan of healthy edibles as well. On a side note, do you remember Blessed Edibles, the MMA fighter lady?
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, she ended up, one of the big LPs, I guess, bought her recipes out or did some sort of deal with her. I was kind of happy to see that for her. She always had the best, healthiest edibles that I've ever had.
And we need more of that. I don't want to push the agenda on this, but I think we do need more of that. The edibles market, there's a lot of sugar in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's back to what you're saying about treats from when you were a kid. One thing I'm not really a fan of. I love cool packaging. I've always been like that guy who will go in and, oh, look at that. I'll buy it because it's cool packaging, like once and anyway.
Yeah. I bought Wonka Shatter because of the packaging. I had to have it.
Yeah, right. Like, so what they're now on the market is there's a lot of like the knockoff, like the Reese's. The packaging looks just like Reese's.
Yeah.
Or there's the packaging looks just like Fruit Loop cereal. Like there's infused Fruit Loop cereal now, but the packaging looks exactly like normal cereal packaging, other than like the milligrams and the THC warning. So for me, it's setting it up for failure because the powers that be are going to say you're marketing towards kids. What if kids mistake it for the actual cereal? I mean, there was a story, it was out on one of the reses. It was Oreo cookies, actually, infused Oreo cookies. But the pack looked like a pack of Oreo cookies. And one cookie was 500 milligrams, and the kid ate it. He was like a little bit older, like early teenager or whatever, but he had eaten it. And it's like, that's just a bad publicity story.
Scene. All the way around. Absolutely, 100%. I couldn't agree more. But at the same time, Al and I, we've had this conversation with other people, and we've had it amongst ourselves as well. It's a fine line because we're demonizing the packaging of cannabis products. But if you go to a liquor store, you can buy a hard lemonade that looks like a lemonade you would buy for a kid. You can buy a fruit drink that looks like it's got, purple animals on it that's completely geared to kids. And that's deemed acceptable because it's up to the parents to keep it out of the reach of the children. We're supposed to keep this stuff out of reach, the same as we do any other medication or any alcohol that has similar colorful packaging that could be attractive to children. And I've heard the argument too that people out there have said, anybody that uses the packaging, sort of made in Asia, that's where I guess it all comes from, that looks like similar or identical to the original manufacturing packaging, that all of that isn't medicine and it's all bad edibles and that. Now, I don't think that's true either. I think that there's a place for it, but I think it's fast sales. I think it's something it's here and then it's gone. It's not, like you say, it's not going to be long lived because everybody's going to go after it. But it's like a fad product, and there's so many of them out there. Do we need to demonize it? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like back to the liquor store, they have Pop Shop Pop.
Mike's Hard Lemonade. Yeah, Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Just like Pop Shop.
Yeah, it sure does.
It sure does. And
what's that other one? Bombay or something? It's like a slushy. So kids love slushies.
Yeah.
And it's got a nice fancy package on the outside. Can you imagine them having to sell all this stuff with just a black label or black?
Yeah, and we put it on the parents. to
Yeah,
regulate
exactly.
and keep it out of reach of the children, and that's normal practice. Nobody would ever sue the liquor store for putting out a colorful can of hard lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. It's totally on the parents. I mean, that was the next point of what I was actually going to say is, it's the parents' responsibility to keep any product, whether it's cleaning products, bleach,
Correct.
Yeah.
Old Dutch powder,
Yeah.
alcohol, cannabis,
Flintstone vitamins.
prescription meds, Tylenols,
Yeah.
all that stuff is stuff that is on the parent to keep away from their children.
They are the responsible one, and that means for
They're
everything.
supposed to be. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I sit here and read see here on the headline, when we were looking for a news article before the show got started, there was one that was screaming there 5 children were taken to a hospital in Victoria.
Yeah. And it'll be the cannabis community and the cannabis products that are demonized for that. If a kid, how many kids wind up in the emergency department with alcohol poisoning because they got into their parents' liquor cabinet or somebody left something out of there? That doesn't make the news.
I know one myself.
Yeah. That doesn't make the news.
Yeah.
No, that never makes the news. No, and usually if a parent's found their toddler sitting there beside a case of empties and notice that the little one's little tippet, they would assume that the kid is drunk.
Yeah.
And people have dealt with people being drunk for years and know how to deal with it. Whereas people don't know how to deal with anybody. A lot of people don't know how to deal with when it comes to the cannabis end of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you're buying the products and you've got them in the house accessible to your kids, then you should know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the bottom line. Like I say, we don't advertise, and it doesn't make the news when these kids ingest other things. I mean, we have a poison control hotline in every city and every province in this country. And, sometimes the line is freaking busy. So kids are ingesting a lot of stuff, and they're going into the hospital for it. None of it makes the news, but cannabis does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, mainstream media pushing an agenda. It seems to me, it's a focus that we've got to get away from. It's continuing reefer madness propaganda. So it's a difficult situation.
Yeah. But we have to press on and make changes. Like I know Steve, you mentioned something about that earlier on, where it is what it is right now, and all we can do is keep battling to make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you're a dad. You're a brand new dad. You're a dad previous to this, but you're a brand new dad as well. So on the parent scale, you can speak to that and confidently.
Yeah, it's with the newborn baby in the house, it changed our whole routine. I actually was talking with one of the glass company cleaner suppliers, and I suggested, you ever considered a hand cleaner for after consuming? Because I started using a glass cleaner on my hands after touching extracts.
Yeah. Well, residue is there, and our skin is our largest organ.
Yeah. So it was paranoid. I was like, Jesus, I go do a dab, and then a little piece of shatter splashes out of the rig or whatever, and it's on my finger. I touch the baby, he touches himself. I was just like, oh my God, right?
Yeah. But we got to think about these things as parents.
And that's exactly it. I was like, okay, I'll find a solution to this, and I got my glass. And I noticed when I used this glass cleaner that my hands were really soft afterwards. So I was like, I wonder. So I used some glass cleaner. It works perfect. So
there you go. Solutions to problems. This is what we do as parents, and I'm kind of glad that we touched on that, because this is a hot topic in today's world with legalization and the onset of edibles becoming so popular.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic. And your edibles, getting back to that.
Yeah, so you had mentioned the story about the chef guy wanted
Yes.
to do the restaurant. Infused dinners have been a thing for a while.
Yes, I've been to several. Yeah.
But they're not usually as a restaurant. They're pop-ups.
Yeah, correct.
Or there was one being run out of in Pickering there, where it was in the same location all the time, but it was like they called it the Rebel Food Series or something, where they did different themes every time.
Nice.
But that would be a huge market. But where the problem is these 10 milligram regulations.
Yeah.
So like you split up 10 milligrams amongst the whole meal you're going to serve. I mean, the infused meals I've gone to, it's usually like there's appetizers that are 10 or 15 milligrams. There'll be a drink that comes with it that's 10 or 15, maybe 20 milligrams.
Yeah.
A main course that's another 10 or 50, maybe 50 milligrams. Dessert that's...
You're at a couple hundred by the end of the meal, yeah.
Yeah, by the time you're done, you're creeping up to the 150, 200 mark, right?
Yeah.
Of extract anyway. So that's we can touch on that after, but that's a thing too, is the milligrams. Is it actual THC milligrams, or is it just the amount of extract that's in the edible?
Yeah, exactly. And that seems to be up in the air and up for debate by a lot of people, including lawyers and everything's interpretations of this law. And nobody seems to be able to give you a straight answer on that kind of stuff. And also, 10 milligrams with the limits, if you put it into a meal, would that be 10 milligrams per course? Would it be 10 milligrams per item on the plate? So could the potatoes be 10 milligrams and the meat also be 10 milligrams and the vegetables also be 10 milligrams? Or is it the entire plate? Lots up for debate there, right?
I mean, what if you went back? Could you go back for seconds?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Make it
throw me an
all
extra
a
scoop
pair of beefs, little kind of appetizers, right? And every one of them is 10 milligrams. Well, I can get through a meal of those.
Well, that happened to me at an infused dinner. Actually, I was a vendor at an infused dinner, and they kept going by and dropping off. Like, they'd go around and serve everyone.
Yeah.
And they'd go back and drop off the extras with the vendor tables. And I must have had 6 infused dinners that night, in total.
Yeah, I've been to a few of them, and a couple of them, contain shows. One of them was in the old theater down, I think it was on Queen Street in the East End of Toronto. And we went to a comedy show, and we had Ms. Maddie's Patties that did that one. And,
you did
used Jamaican patties with rice and peas. And, it was fantastic. And 10 milligrams? Yeah, no, there was quite a bit more than that.
There was the one time that you had an infused dinner at, even at bingo they served.
Yeah, we played bingo while we ate, and that was like hamburgers. I think we had that night, hamburgers and poutine.
Yeah,
that we had that night, that particular. But I mean, there's all kinds of them, and they've been around, as you say, pop up within the city for years. That's been going on. Again, part of the existing industry that we had pre-legalization. Everything that they're trying to create, we already had it. Why didn't they just license everybody?
Yeah, instead of they turned us all against them, and now it's like they're I mean, like I said, they're changing things around a little, but
slowly the fight continues.
Yeah,
it's like pulling teeth here. Like, why didn't you just do this in the beginning, like we told you to do? Like, or suggested you do? Like,
exactly.
We've been doing this for X amount of years. Obviously over those years doing it legally, you didn't see a bunch of dead bodies anywhere. So
that's right. That's right. Thriving industry, people paying taxes. People buying houses and fixing houses and renovating and making money and employing people, and part of the economic churning wheel of most major cities.
You go to a farmer's market and pick up that farmer's apples or the farmer's apple pie.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. We're going to talk about events and the comeback, hopefully, that's about to dawn in Ontario, and so much more when we come back from the break with Biggy Bud.
That's right, exactly. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888. And grow on with CP.
Pace Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Once again, peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Check them out.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Hey, welcome back and thanks for tuning in to the Pace Radio Show. We are being live broadcasted from paceradio.net and paceradioshow.com. Tonight in the program we're joined by our guest, cannabis patient advocate Steve Biggs of Biggy, Big Bud Compassion, and my joint host, Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper. Okay, Kim, we've been talking about a bunch of different things over the last 2 segments, and I think we've got something a little bit different direction this time.
Yeah, we're gonna double back way back to the beginning. We're gonna go through a few things in this final segment and make sure we get all of the stuff in that we wanted to talk about. We tend to get sidetracked here at Pace Radio, doing dabs in between. And there we go. We're off on a tangent somewhere. And we
conversations just drift sometimes, But that's all part of the natural flow too, right?
That's it. So we're going to double back just a little bit. At the beginning of the show, we heard a lot about Bigg and Biggy and what he does. But how he got started, we kind of skipped over that because I got so excited about his products. We got right into that. But you're a patient first.
Yeah. So I got signed up under the MMAR, the original program with Health Canada back in. It started in the end of 2000, I think, early 2001, because of the Parker case. Terry Parker Jr. But so I got signed up, it was 2011 after a bunch of car accidents I had, and the last one was kind of the worst one. Took me probably 2 years to find a doctor that would sign. And then the final car accident, I got connected with a guy, Todd Teagan in Toronto, who hooked me up with Dr. Cameraman. And Dr. Cameraman signed for me, and then subsequently got rated in 2012, I think. In the end of 2012 is when he got rated.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I was
devastating.
Yeah.
My renewal was just after he got rated, so I missed out on the injunction and everything that happened after that, with the as it transformed into what we now have as the ACMPR.
Yep.
So I went from a grower, lost my garden. I didn't lose my garden. I lost my license for my garden, I guess.
Yeah.
But lost the security of that license and went back to sort of that, illegal grower, and up until into, I guess it was 2017 when they started re-signing like grow license sort of.
That's when they went for. Yeah, because they had the MMPR where there was no patients growing. So
you could only grow if your MMAR was valid on.
Yes.
I think it was March 3rd of 2000.
So you fell in the crack.
Yeah, I was and I ironically got rated 4 days after my MMAR expired.
God.
Totally unrelated matter.
Okay.
But nothing of the unrelated matter was ever found because I wasn't involved in it.
Right.
But they found 11 grams of shake, and my license was expired, and they actually took me, this was my parents' house, they raided it with full SWAT team, and actually took me out handcuffs for 11 grams of shake. And I went off, and I had some other issues, so I just decided to deal with everything. But I did 80 days in jail over that 11 grams, or essentially.
3 months in jail for 11 grams of shake.
Wow.
Yeah, well, there was other issues that I was on bail for, so that was I could have went and got bail probably, but I was just like, you know what, I'm here. I'm just going to deal with this. Screw this.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be out, and I knew I'd only be in there for a few months, and it would get dealt with. Because I wasn't involved in what they were alleging I was involved in for the other stuff. So I knew it was going to get itself sorted. But so then I got out from there and went under the MMPR, where it was just a possession license. And I remember my first, it was the Apollo clinic I went to, I think was the original. Oh, no, sorry, it was Canada Clinics or something it was originally, and I got 1 gram a day at a THC cap of 11.5%, and I was under the MMAR at 20 grams a day. Right?
Boy, that's a big difference, and then being capped at 11.5%.
Yeah,
THC.
so then
you'd have to buy it through a licensed producer.
Yeah, so you had to then do a mail order.
Yeah.
and you had to order your first order. And if you didn't order your first order, you didn't actually get your card that said you had a possession license. That's how it worked there. And then if you wanted an increase, you had to order for a month and show that you had ordered and that it wasn't working for you and you needed more. Right? Like another increase.
Talk about
or whatever.
hoops that you had to jump through. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it was simply freaking insane back then. And then, of course, the challenge came, and we flipped it all on its head.
Yeah, and then the Allard case won, and then it was back to home grows for patients.
Yeah.
Under the ACMPR, which they just did a public thing about. I guess they want to change it, and one of the best things I read on it was a letter that Kirk Toussaint, the lawyer, wrote to Health Canada, and it was basically saying, like, this is deja vu of the Allard case all over again. Like, it's so I don't know what kind of changes they're going to come, and it's all related to what I think is last fall, late summer and early fall last year. There was a bunch of huge raids on medical grows that were over plant counts. All sort of Vietnamese names. And those are the ones that are going to wreck it or make more regulations, is those over plant count grows. And it started this year. There hasn't been as many as there was last year, but last year it was just like every week there was like
nonstop.
You'd see like 6,000 plants seized. Like back in the day, if you saw a bus like that, you'd be like, "Oh my God, like that's just crazy." But it was like 2 and 3 a week there at one point, where it was like thousands and thousands of plants, like multiple greenhouses.
I think they were making a point. They were using that and the publicity for that to further an agenda.
Well, exactly. And that leads up to now where they asked for public input up until, I think the date's passed now.
Oh, yeah, it has, yes.
But they're looking at changing, doing some changes. And that's exactly what that was. That was basically a photo op and a propaganda. I mean, obviously it was there. They didn't make this stuff up. They didn't go in and falsify plant counts and everything. So I mean, it's obviously part of the problem. But it's like, why not? If you're that scale, why not just go and try to set up a legit micro grow? Because that, as we were saying, as the market has progressed and changed, micro grows now. There's some great smaller micro grows coming on the market. Overpriced, but still like privately owned old legacy market people that have changed their sort of medical grows into micros now.
Yeah.
And it's just too bad that they have to go through the process that they have to do to get to market.
Yes.
You know, like going through the license producers.
Hence the price. That's why the price point is
and then, and then you got, try to name, 5 brands, because, there's no promotion, no advertising, no nothing on it.
Yeah, that's right. And in order to go to market, they've got to sell it to an LP, or they've got to get their distribution license, which is another hurdle to jump over. I mean, changes have to be made to make this inclusive for all. There's no question.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's something that's obtainable. They're just not going to just write a thing and say, here, you got your license. They're obviously going to want you to do some stuff. There's going to be some regulations involved.
Absolutely. Yeah. But the current hoops and the cost of those hoops, the cost is preventative for the majority.
Well, some of them, to get to cost and all that, some of them, now with all those numbers of stores, some of them are selling. And, talking about the money that they've had to put into it and whether it was worth doing it because of being so many in the system now.
Well, it could be done a lot easier. I've always said and always sort of fought, and part of my fight was okay, me as a medical grower, I have, say, back when my biggest license was a 40 gram a day license. So I have my 40 gram a day license. I'm producing, let's say, I'm an amazing grower and I'm able to produce 60 grams a day out of my allotted plant count instead of the 40. With legalization, there's no storage limit anymore, so that doesn't really matter if I grow more. Before legalization, you were supposed to destroy it.
Yeah.
You were supposed to destroy it. Health Canada actually told you to put it in a food processor, mix it with kitty litter, and put it out of the garbage.
Yeah, that's right.
Regular garbage pickup.
I burned mine. My extra storage. I burned mine one joint at a time.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So why shouldn't medical growers be allowed to sell their product to even an LP or have like a directly to OCS? Obviously, the product is tested or whatever rigmarole they want to do to it to make it to go to market. But why shouldn't it be like I, as a patient, be allowed to sell my overgrow to the government or to the stores that are going to sell it? And it would be then, you could gear it like, medical growing, right? Or grown by a medical patient, or even Biggy Big Butt brand, or you could leave the whole medical thing out of it and just put Biggy Big Butt brand.
Yeah, the big thing at the beginning was testing, right? Oh, it's got to be tested. It's got to be tested. It's got to be tested. And at the beginning, there was reason, there was limited amounts of testing. But in today's world, holy shit, you can get it tested anywhere. All dispensaries have testing machines and analyzing machines. They're all over the place, in Indigenous land especially.
Two of our sponsors.
Grassroots markets that are still out there.
Two of our sponsors.
Legacy 420. You can go into Legacy 420 and drop something off, and they'll give you a lab result on it.
Dana Larson does the same thing. So does the other one. What is it? S&M Medicinal Sweet Shops. They have a testing facility in their shop as well.
BNA's got a
everybody's
tester.
got one. BNA's got one. They've got another one in Hamilton at the dispensary down there. I can't recall the name of it, but they're all over the place.
Yeah, and why? And then, so as a medical patient, then what that would do is that would supplement your income if you were a low income patient. And there's always this thing that people, you're a medical patient, automatically you're low income. It's not necessarily true, but there is a lot of low income patients that can't afford their meds, or can barely afford to do their whole crop. So now they're able to sell part of that crop. It's going to offset their cost, which is going to, over time, offset costs to the healthcare system.
Oh, big time. Yeah. The amount of money that patients, that way, it gives them some money in order to maybe get that extra groceries that they could use that last week while they wait for their check to come in.
That's right.
Yeah, or like the extra supplements they may need to live a healthier life that they normally can't afford. But
it's only places like LPs like Metrum that we can trust.
Yeah. Okay.
There has been some of the news reports we've covered on the Reefer Reporters. There has been some places where they've talked about that, where the patients are able to supply their cannabis to the system. There hasn't been a lot of them, but there has been some. And I can't remember the country it was, but it was one of the recent stories that Kelly and I covered.
And see, there you go. I bet you it's European. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it was a European place.
I'm on the hunt.
You're on the hunt. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it was European. They have the laws there where grocery stores can't throw out the food. They have to donate it, right?
Yeah.
So, it doesn't surprise me if it's coming from a European nation. Something like Malta would do that. But, this is the thing. We have the means to supply the patient market with affordable meds. And I mean, we wouldn't have legalization today. We wouldn't have anything today if it weren't for patients. Patients are the ones that push this agenda. We're the ones that got us where we are today. And we're the ones that created this industry that was then dismantled and now is trying to be rebuilt. And here we are. We're not only not getting appropriate meds for appropriate pricing, but we're actually being left out in the cold. You know, with the caps and stuff that go on in the retail market, I can't get my prescription filled or fill my needs of my prescription at a retail establishment because of the caps.
Well, also travel limits. I mean, it's you're allowed your max 150 carry limit, and you're allowed your 30 rec on top of that 150, by the way. So you're like, if you have a 5 gram a day or more prescription, your carry limit would be 180 grams. Yeah. Now, what happens? So back to when I had a 40 gram a day license. So I have a 40 gram a day license. And people are like, well, you can't smoke 40 grams of cannabis a day.
No,
well, no,
you don't smoke it.
You eat it.
That's
and
right.
you juice the plant and everything like that. So your 40 grams a day, 40 times 4 is 160. So say 5 days. So 200 is 5 days. 200 grams is 5 days. So with a carry limit of 180, I can't leave my house for more than 5 days. If I can't go to the cottage for a week, I'd have to come home and get more meds halfway through the week. Is like one of those scenarios. Obviously, I would just carry over my limit and just go on my day, right? But, and then take it to court and fight it if it ever came to that. But your average person might be not willing to do that. And now they've got to go 2 hours to their cottage, enjoy 3-4 days at their cottage, and then be like, oh, I need to go back home so I can get more cannabis because I wasn't allowed to carry my whole prescription with me that I needed for the week. Like, there's still small things that need to be fixed. Yeah. An arbitrary carry limit of 150 grams when you have unlimited storage at home is just, like, to me, doesn't make sense.
No, absolutely. A lot of it doesn't make sense.
As long as it's safely packaged and properly stored in my vehicle, I should be allowed to carry whatever it is that I need. Like, like back under the MMAR, it was up to 30 days. You're allowed a supply of 30 days.
That's right. Yeah, and then
which is more manageable. I mean, it's okay. You're going to your cottage. Usually, it's for a week, or you're going away on a cross country trip for 2-3 weeks. So you could have a month's worth of your cannabis with you. Now, depending on your level of your prescription, is you might only be allowed to have a week's worth with you.
Yep.
Right? And that's still as it is now. There's still a carry limit of 150 plus the 30 rec.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a situation that we're still, as we said, fighting to change. And a lot of this has come on the backs of patients. You being one of them, you've been in it for a very, very long time, from the beginning, basically. Timing is everything, as they say, and you got left out, but nonetheless you were still in it, whether you were on the papered side or not. Many of us were not papered at the time, so we've all gone through it, and life threw us a curveball in the last 18 months, that's for sure, with our situation with the world and the globe as it is, and the shutdowns everywhere and everything else. But it does look like stuff is springing back to life. Here in Ontario, we are one of the last provinces to come back to life, but it looks like we're starting to do that here in Ontario. And some people are rummaging around talking about events starting back up. That's pretty exciting.
I know the Indigenous Cup in Tyendega is scheduled for August.
Yeah.
I seen something about that. And there was I saw another one on Indigenous land. It's like a one-day pop-up farmer's market.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's nice to see events. I'm considering one here in Ottawa. I don't know the logistics of how I'm going to do it. I'll probably make it more of an accessories than actual product on site.
Yeah.
You would just sort of come and connect with me and see the accessories we do. Garden questions, that would be the thing for the fall. We're going to have some, if I was going to do it, sort of harvesting equipment and harvesting tips, and maybe a little harvest workshop.
Nice.
And some infused food.
I mean, everybody's growing now, so I mean that's the big push now is information on growing.
Yeah, so that's the was the focus of my business that I switched, was setting up grows for patients and rec people. Their 4 plant grows, how to maximize those 4 plants, because I mean you can produce quite a bit out of 4 plants if it's done properly.
You can.
Jason Wheatstagram, I think he got 17 or 18 pounds out of his 4 plants last year.
Those are some nice plants.
Yeah. But I mean, and he had 4 and he super trained them and did what you're supposed to do, and the results showed. I mean, it's so there was that. So yeah, we're hoping to do some sort of event here, but we'll see.
That'd be very cool. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring up, I mean, I love Indigenous. Indigenous Cup was quickly pre-COVID becoming a very large favorite of mine for events wise. And of course, I traveled a lot in the summer times and in the summer months, reporting for Pace Radio and covering different events and doing interviews on the road and stuff. Love event season, and I've really missed it in the last 2 years. And Indigenous kind of set me up for the start of the season, because it's usually at the end of May. And
it was early.
So it's early in the season. So it usually set me up. It's like, oh, this is the start of event season. It was sort of the beginning of event season right after 420. That was what happened, was it was Indigenous. And of course, the end of event season for me is always been the Karma Cup. My favorite, my ultimate favorite event. I think it's the greatest event on this wonderful planet of ours. I don't know of one that's bigger or better than Karma. I get excited for Karma every year, and I'm very excited this year for Karma because I think there may be an actual event this year. Karma, of course, went last year. The cup judging and the cup itself went, but there was no event for the first time in 7 years. So that was disheartening, and it looks like it's a go this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Sarah does a great job.
Yeah, she does.
With the cup, that's for sure.
Yeah, she does. She does a fantastic job.
What made me a fan of the cup was I think it was 2016 cup. It was set for the docks.
Yes.
Rub nightclub or whatever it's called now. And the city came in and put a stop work order in on the Thursday.
Yeah.
And everything got switched and moved and set up, and it went on and was amazing. Other than the weather that year was really cold.
It was cold that year. It was. I was in my winter coat, man. It was cold that year.
Cold, and that's what actually moved the cup forward into September. Was that year? She's like, I'm not doing this again. It was too cold.
Yeah.
And then the next year. Was it? I might have. I think it was 2 years later. It was in the one location,
The big move on Saturday.
And the manager, the property owner wasn't down with what was going on. I guess the manager took the payment and didn't inform the owner of what was going on. And the owner showed up at the property and was like, "What is this in my parking lot?"
Yeah. He demanded everybody leave. Sarah she had a contract and everything, but she's like, "No, I don't need, cops showing up and, this guy is like stressing and carrying on." So she just packed it up. She started making calls, looked for another venue, and we wound up back at the old original location that saved her the first time she got kicked out and from the dock. So we wound up back there. But yeah, she set that whole thing up twice in one weekend. And the next day, Sunday, it was in a new location, but it was like it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she pulled it off, man. It was I had brought friends of mine that year that it moved on the Saturday, and I had brought friends of mine that were first time goers. And I kept telling them when we were there at the new location, I said, "Oh yeah, last year it kind of looked like this. It was a little bit different. It was in a different spot." And I was explaining last year when we were there on Saturday. And then when we found out what happened and I started laughing, I said, "Well, now you're going to get to see what it looked like last year."
Yeah.
Because we're going back. So they got to see both venues that year. So it was kind of neat. But yeah, she does a hell of a job. I am looking forward to just seeing the community again. Seeing people, interacting with people off of a computer screen. Just the camaraderie of it all. And of course the event itself, the amount of product that's available and the amount of information that's available is mind-boggling. It's quite the event, I think.
Oh, it was packed, man. Packed.
Yeah.
10,000 people in a weekend.
I mean, we're all praying and hoping and saying, yes, it's a go this year. Do you think it'll be the same if it is?
Well, I don't think events will ever be the same, just because you're not going to have open sample plates anymore. I don't think you're not going to have dab stations. Oh, here, try our dabs. Unless you have your own sort of device.
I have my electric nectar collector that will be in my hand at all times.
Speaking of devices, have you seen the new Shatterizer?
Yes.
No, I've been offline. I have to come into town to do my shows with Al. I don't have internet at the farm yet, and I've missed everything that's gone on in the last 2 months. But I did hear about it.
I have one.
I have one too. I got sent one. It's
Same here.
A bubbler attachment. I actually seen the prototype 2 years ago and had to keep my mouth shut about it.
Where'd you go?
I was told under no certainty was I to tell anyone about it. I got to try it when I worked at Hotbox when Matt came in.
I would love to try that. I mean, I'm a bong girl at heart. When I was consuming flour, bongs, always bongs, and that's one of the reasons I migrated over to the nectar collector was because of the water attachment.
Yeah, so he's got this nice water bubbler. Also they've increased the coil up to 3, a triple coil now instead of a double.
Triple coil, correct. Yeah.
Wow, I'm going to have to get in touch with Val.
And the light, how the light is, you have your red and blue and white for your temperature light. It's now the whole base.
Nice.
It lights up.
It's not hard to see in the sunlight.
Yeah. You can see this in the sunlight. I tested mine out on Sunday. A friend of mine who stopped in with some fresh rosin, some Northern Lights, and we did we used it on there, and I was quite surprised.
Nice.
Like the the amount of vapor that I got, it to me increased big time. And,
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a bigger cloud you get. That's for sure. I choked
Yeah.
myself out.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, see, now I like that.
Same here.
I like that.
Someone, Loretta, she asked me. She says posted online because I posted a picture, and she says I can hardly wait for the review. And I said, well, I was going to write a review, and then I used it.
Yeah, Loretta's doing some fights for lounge.
Yes, she is. Now, just so you know, before we move over to Loretta there, when it comes to Shatterizer, Matt and Val will be a guest here on the Pace Radio Show on August the 4th.
Yes.
Nice.
So, yes, we will
Yeah,
hear all about that.
they're awesome.
Yeah. And as Loretta and lounges, yes, she's very passionate about lounges, and I totally agree with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we discussed the lounges at the very beginning of the show, and that's something that was very important. And I agree with her when it comes to lounges. They need to be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
They're part and parcel of our core.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, you two. I see it's a little past the bottom of the hour. Is there anything else you want to touch on, Kim, before we get into the shout out?
No, I think we covered whole bunches with Biggy. I'm just looking forward to hopefully seeing him at an event in Southern Ontario in the very, very near future.
Yes, me too.
Yes, likewise. Exactly. You know, OTR has been sitting waiting. And OTR is Pace Radio OTR. That's our On the Road show. And we just haven't,
on the road.
There hasn't been any events.
There's been
To
nothing.
cover.
There's been nothing to go on the road for.
Oh, yeah, exactly. All right, so Steve, this is shout out time. Person, place, a thing, website, so on and so forth. You've already mentioned it. Feel free to do so once again.
My accessory business, Source One Supply, one spelt O-N-E, not the number one, .ca. Or on Instagram, same at Source One Supply, all one word. Or you can, my other Instagram, Biggy Big Bud 613, 2 G's on Biggy, 2 G's on Bigg, and BiggyBigBud.ca. I do get messages, but the sites need updated. So best way is through Instagram or Steve Biggs on Facebook. I've been in Facebook jail for a bit. I think I'm due out again in a week, but I can respond to messages still. So.
We all live in Facebook jail, honey.
Even I recently spent 24 hours in restriction, so
yeah.
And I don't get there often, believe me.
Yeah.
Kim lives there.
Nell and Al now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so that's good. Good stuff. All right, Kim?
Yeah, my shout out tonight goes to the one and only Mr. Al Graham. Yesterday was a big day for our host, producer, and founder of Pace Radio. It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Al. You turned 60. You're in the golden age now,
that's
darling.
Right.
And you made it through and you're still green.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you very much for that. Yes, the big 6-0. I can remember when I was younger and I used to think even the year 2000 I was going to be old, and that somebody at 60 years of age is old. But now I am there, and I'm going to say that mentally I'm still 40. But every once in a while, I feel 80.
I hear ya.
So I'm right there in the middle, right at 60, and now I've been getting discounts at the local Guardian drugstore. But it's good to be able to now get some discounts at some other places too. So you got to take advantage of these senior discounts. Even my bank account. The name on my bank account changed. It's now got senior included in it. I went like, what? So,
Oh, that's fantastic.
my family surprised me 2 weeks ago with a surprise birthday party over the long weekend, and then yesterday there was all kinds of birthday wishes that were sent to me, and people connected to the network were posting up, like yourself, Kim. We're posting things about my birthday, and I got a message today from Kelly. Apparently, there was something was placed in the Belleville Intelligence Center.
Yes. We consulted as a team about doing something for your birthday. We really wanted to get together and go on the air and do sort of a tribute show to you. But that didn't work out for various reasons on people's schedules. We couldn't make it happen. We really tried, but we couldn't make it happen. But Kelly came up with the ad, and her and I spoke about it quite a bit. And I said, yeah, it's a fantastic idea. So she went ahead and did that.
When she told me that, what, really?
Yeah.
And I could feel love. There's no doubt about that. I was very surprised. She sent me a screenshot, I think, of the information or something that was.
And there's a little picture
of it and the whole bit. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that hat.
I love the picture.
Yes.
Farmer out.
Exactly. I was surprised by it all. There's no doubt about that. So
nice.
Thank you to my immediate family, my radio family, and the cannabis community. It was a special day.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you only turned 60 once.
That's
well, you're
right.
supposed to anyway, right?
Yes, yeah, yes, exactly.
I only turned 29 once too, but there's been a few of those.
Yeah, likewise. Had that discussion. All right. Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much, Kim, and thank you to the crew here at the Pace Radio Network. I really appreciate everything that you've done for me over my birthday. No doubt about that.
Very welcome.
And my wife and family too. I know Gail was working hard there with the family to do the surprise party, and it was good to see the kids, the grandkids, and their homemade birthday gifts and cards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's always special.
Biggy, you know, Steve, you're gonna be, you've got that little one, and in years he's gonna be starting to make you those birthday cards, and they're gonna be hanging them on the fridge.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait.
That's right. All right, other than that, just a reminder to everybody that we will be back next week. Julie Corello and her special guest will be joining me. You can find the Pace Radio Show on Facebook. We're on Twitter. And you can find us at paceradio.net as well as paceradioshow.com. Thank you to go to our sponsors, Legacy420.com, BMAHydroponics.com, the Camelford Lifestyle Shop in downtown Camelford, as well as Dr. Buck's Cannabis Trimming Solutions, and they are found at drbuckscts.com, as well as a huge thank you to our guest, Steve Biggs of Biggy Big Bud Compassion. Thank you, Steve, for coming on and talking to us.
My pleasure.
And you, Kim, as always, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure as well. I'll love to be here.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in the program. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
You know I blame it on industry.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Do you want to hear what patients and cannabis advocates have to say? If so, then catch the Pace Radio Show Wednesday nights here on paceradio.net.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.